Mae Jemison. This is the table of contents, and it tells you what each page will be about. So the first part is Meet Mae Jemison. That's where we'll start. Meet Mae Jemison. Mae Jemison was an astronaut. She was the first African-American woman to travel into space. The smart and hardworking Jemison is also a dancer, a doctor, a teacher, and an author. Jemison was born on October 17, 1956, in Decatur, Alabama. When she was 3 years old, her family moved to Chicago, Illinois. Jemison learned how to read even before she started school. She was curious about everything. Her kindergarten teacher asked the children what they wanted to be when they grew up. Jemison said, "I want to be a scientist." Jemison's science background helped her become an astronaut. Reaching for the stars. Not many women or African Americans were scientists when Jemison was growing up, but young Mae did not let that stop her. She was very interested in astronomy. She read books about the stars and the moon. At night, she looked up at the sky and dreamed. Jemison worked hard and did well in school. Her grades were so good that she even skipped 7th grade. Jemison especially liked to do science experiments. Fast fact: when Jemison was in middle school, Neil Armstrong became the first human to walk on the moon. Neil Armstrong and Buzz Aldrin on the moon. Jemison entered Stanford University in California when she was just 16 years old. She was the youngest student in her class. Jemison was still very interested in astronomy and outer space. She watched all the space missions on TV. In 1981, Americans watched the launch of the space shuttle Columbia on TV. Around the world and beyond. In 1977, Jemison went to medical school to study to become a doctor. She traveled to Africa and Asia. She took care of people in poor communities. Fast fact: in addition to English, Jemison speaks Japanese, Russian, and Swahili. In 1983, Jemison joined the Peace Corps as a doctor and returned to Africa. The Peace Corps sends Americans around the world to help improve the lives of people in different countries. This is a Peace Corps volunteer working with a woman in Africa. Fast fact: the Peace Corps was founded in 1961 by U.S. President John F. Kennedy to help spread peace and friendship around the globe. Sally Ride, Guion Bluford. In 1985, Jemison returned to California and worked at a hospital. She also applied to the astronaut program at the National Aeronautics and Space Administration, also known as NASA. A year later, she began her career at the Johnson Space Center in Houston, Texas. Fast fact: Sally Ride was the first woman to go into space in 1983. Later that year, Guion Bluford became the first African American in space. Jemison had a lot to learn before she went into space. She learned about the space shuttle she would be working on. She got used to moving around in zero gravity. This photo shows Jemison in parachute survival school. Jemison is ready to board the shuttle. On September 12, 1992, the Space Shuttle Endeavour lifted into space. Jemison did many experiments on board. Some experiments tested what happened to the human body in zero gravity. The results would help people stay healthy in space. Dr. Jemison was in space for 190 hours, 30 minutes, and 23 seconds. That's almost 8 full days. Jemison left NASA in 1993 and founded the Jemison Institute. Its mission is to bring technology to poor countries. She also began an international science camp program for teenagers called The Earth We Share. Jemison is also part of a project called 100-Year Starship. Its goal is to help humans travel to the stars in the next 100 years. Jemison is an inspiration to young women everywhere, and she never stops trying new things. A poem about Mae Jemison. She dreamed about going to space one day, then didn't let anyone stand in her way. Still learning, still dreaming, she makes us say anything's possible. Hooray for Mae.